Okay, so coming back to this video again, and I know there are people tapping in. The last and most recent, latest mentioning was Realty, and this is in the inner China. Realty. Do you guys know the BNB.com? And the chairman stepped down to be executive director instead. That was my chief executive decision to disclose to him. Guess how much your storage been for all these years? And that was after 2006, and I didn't tell him. If you want to invest your money wisely and into the realty, I can't tell you everything. Yeah. And one of the things is that even in China, you can build a whole building, but you don't own the land. You can only lease the land. So, and then the way I got into the real estate game was by REIT, R-E-I-T. I only spent a few thousand US dollars, and I was able to get a portfolio of all the prices, all the interest, all the accumulated interest to release, and more on the real estate business and development and lawful ownerships and all that. And right now we have Koreans very interested in the realty in the United States, and guess what? And I praise them. Very good. They started with farming too. Because one time I drove out of the boundaries from the highway system, the interstate, into the routes, R-O-U-T-E-S, and it was a quiet drive without any lights. Imagine driving, without anything, and that's how it was. So REIT, REIT is Real Estate Investment Trust. More magazine is the Hi-Fi. What's good about the Hi-Fi is that if you give one out, they call their friends, and you know what all the vinyl is, and they can be invited to a symphony. So short. Alright. And then the interior design, more on interior design and city planning complements that it might achieve to have a realty landmark at the zone. And then they have the office concepts. I don't know where this fun magazine might be from, but I've never seen this one. I mean, I bought it, but I don't know where it's from. Well, to me, office might be, somewhat industrial, and then they can build dry walls. That's why in America, they have dry walls. And then there are, some kind of enticements. When you move into a building, the other tenants, you have to get their name list the first day and exchange phone calls. If not, your tenants might sell it to your competitors. more on apartment spaces, and they might not be perfect. I have more on these. For men's fashion in Asia, you know, first they have the color tone, color matching, and then the color coordinating or not, and then they have the pattern and the thickness of the layer and the smoothness and the gloss or not. Shoulder pads or not, and things. And say that I'm greedy or something. I don't like wearing. I don't like sharing clothes. Sports magazines. More watches, timepiece. For example, this one has a Zenith, Ball, Breitling, Cartier, Cartier, Quorum, Frank Muller, Grand Seiko, Harry Winston, the diamonds, and Jagger Le Couture, Prestige. Go Japan is a funny, these are funny characters. Go Japan is more a travel guide and introductions. Week magazine is just news. This is where so and so BNB knew I had public speaking skills. If I was called upon. Yeah, I gave it out. First, you read the crowd, you know the audience, you know the stage, you work the stage, and you can think and ponder about nearly your focuses and without giving any scripts. So that was easy. And at the moment, and they don't ask questions, they're all morons. And then when they start asking questions, email me. I inspired you. Alright, so next. This one is journalism. So what I value on these newer magazines is journalism style. As far as the texts and how many paragraphs and the size of the paper. Esquire. Esquire is a British and European word for gentleman, and a little bit up more than a gentleman, that they are already an esquire. What do I know about the baby care, right? Child psychology is very important. If you give a child time to think, they are going to ask why they are on earth and they're living. What are they living for? But if they don't have time, then they study and study and study and study and study, and you can feed them information, but the size, or like a buffet style, is your choice. And that's baby care. To the toddlers and the childhood and adolescents and more psychology issues. So these are fine texts. Do you guys know him? So in Hong Kong, there's a gateway to some of the expats, and it is the Lang Kwai Fong. The Fong, the word Fong, it stands for a street where they linked to be a neighborhood. And some of the people, notable people, yeah. With the East Weekly, there are more and more magazines. So other than the company, Capstone, there were projects that I could name as Keystone, but then Keystone already had a website, and then I had named Headstone with the H, or another word, and that's because people are somewhat hostile to your company, and you cannot identify everybody that might back you up or use your company name as an excuse. Then you have to protect the atmosphere of your inspirations. So the name is not very important. Yeah. And but it can be used, and to change the name, it costs a few $1,000s, and then each page can just be transferred the text, or just cover the text. Yeah. So that's how some people might be. And those are usually the immature ones. So, not sure yet. Sometimes people say that there are newspapers that might be useful for paper mache, shaping things, or for powder substance. So that's another issue. So more on men's magazine, the fashion. Sometimes, you know, the labels can have the labels. If you are a new rising star or a celebrity, you can borrow clothes from the just for one picture or one photo section. All right. But you have to show the labels. And then some of the text or some of the textures of the textile is interesting. And the maintain process, the maintenance or maintenance of the fabric, it takes work. Speech. Healthcare magazine or the health related magazines. Driven. This is automotive magazine. They just want to hog the name. My favorite Japanese car magazine, the Option magazine. The first time I had seen the Option magazine was in Little Tokyo in Los Angeles. It was next to the Johan back in the days, and they don't sell it to everybody because it was pricey for high school kids. It was imported. Cosmopolitan. It's like the Men's Health. What I like about some of the magazines were stock investment. If you want to talk about stock investment, there were the Dow Jones Industrial Average, Dow Jones Industrial Average, and then the dogs of the Dow, which are 5 or 10 of those picks. And then that's how I was able to inform that I had remember all my findings plus more in 2017 and move to here, a more kind of comfy serenity that I can just read and write and able to make these smaller videos. Wait, be quiet. I bought these myself with my own budget. And one item So this is my newer collection after I lost the Mozart pen. And this is the DuPont golden pen. The Mozart pen is always in my heart, but it was too tiny. More on the ISSN. The ISSN on each magazine, you have to record that. Yeah. So next video, maybe I can talk about each book. So I had mentioned economics, social science, fiction, non-fiction, instructional. People say self-help, dictionaries, guidelines, map books. Mapping books, map books, spiritual and disciplines, spirituality and the rules kind of, and history, construction. Maintenance and construction, architecture, math, statistics, travel books, pictorials, recipes, cooking style, reports, journalism, annual reports, interim reports, seasonal reports, accountancy guidelines, accountancy rules, accountancy ledgers, samples for the columns, names and titles, illustrations, and more that other than textbooks. You name it, I probably have it. Yellow page, white page, phone books. So, growing up as a boy, I appreciate everything. And it's going to be all over the Chinese internet one day. Oh, I'm just kidding. Just playing with you guys. I'm a very easygoing person. If it's not conflicting with my paychecks or my self-written paychecks as a young chairman, founder, sole founder. And let me guide you through some of the notes taking, right? So all these scans into the computing system, and then you can search the files. And whoever takes my files, software, it'll be back up within 1 day. The most 2 days. Let me show you my files. The accountancy system. And then these are the samples of everything I buy. I know where the import might be. I know where the websites, the logos and things. And here are more that I actually put inside a so these are the ledgers, how you balance. You have assets, liability and equity, but then the sub columns are here. So assets goes assets 1012 12 and 22 and 22, and then it goes. I've seen the who is it? Was it Ernest and Young or Deloitte? One of those. And oh, I've seen PricewaterhouseCoopers too. It was this thick. And I have these red folders ready, but I decided not to sell. And all these are going into a truckload and going on cargoes. And just toss everything like this, and I'll look for it. You might get one book, I'll remember it. And guess what? I beat the system. I had this on my bookshelf like this.